Hello, everybody, and welcome to the State of the Channel for April 13th, 2024. The last one of these State of the Channel videos I did was back in December. Now, the whole goal of this series of videos, if you could even call it that, is I talk about numbers, I talk about money, and I talk about stats, and I talk about stability. I think it's kind of interesting to do one of these right before a patch, because then I can tell you guys and show you guys the actual shift that the patch has and the effect that it has on my channels. So the first thing I have to note is that it's been a pretty typical January, February, March for me. So December was very much a high point for last year. It happens every year. It's always the busiest time of the year for me. It's interesting because a lot of industries take the month off, whereas if you work in content creation or in like the entertainment space, it's probably the busiest month of the year for you. So the vacation month for me is actually kind of January. So January, February, March has actually been very typical. What happens after December is there's always a dip down a little bit into January, a dip down a little further, usually into March, and then February usually kind of is roughly the same as March or a little bit below March. And then April, it kind of starts to pick up a little bit. And then we hit what I like to refer to as the dead of summer. Now, the reason I get like kind of a dead spot in the middle of summer, this very much happened last year. Some of my slowest months were last year in the summer. It was like the June forward were the worst months of last year. The reason this happens is because I have an older audience. And when I say older, I don't mean like, seniors. I mean people above the age of 25. Now, people above the age of 25 generally have jobs, and they generally also have families. Summers are busy, right? Because you're either going on trips. That's when people take vacation, usually. Some people take vacation in the winter, but not generally as often as they do in the summer. A lot more weekends away and stuff like that, short things. So people don't watch Twitch as much. Combine that also with people going back into the office last summer. The dead zone in last summer was pretty bad. And it's been very clear watching my numbers and watching just kind of what happens annually that we're moving towards a summer dead period. And I think that's kind of interesting because this is the first time heading towards a summer dead period that I've had kind of an influx, right? Adventure mode's coming out very soon. So let's talk a little bit about numbers. I'll show you guys some stats on my YouTube channel, and then we will cover a little bit of the, more nitty gritty, I suppose. As you can see, the YouTube channel has had 425,000 views, which is a little bit above normal. YouTube's weird. It always says that I'm above normal, even though I've been getting around the same number of views every month for a while. If I actually go to the longer term, I can show you kind of this shot where you can see from the whole year. So as you can see, back in March 2023, we had about 400,000 views, and then it kind of dipped down for a little bit. And that was kind of the dead period that I was referring to, down in June. That was actually where and when I stopped posting the VODs on the main channel because I noticed that it was just starting to damage the channel. And that actually helped. The overall watch time went down quite a bit more after that point. Like, it was on average significantly higher, and we still haven't actually recovered the watch time. However, the overall views started going back up. Same with things like subscribers. So when I stopped posting the VODs on the main channel, that actually really did begin to help, because June was the last month I posted VODs on the main channel, and by July, the number of subscribers that we'd gained had doubled. So on one hand, I'm kind of sad because I do feel like the revenue on the channel was overall better back when I used to post VODs, but since I've stopped doing that, it's been on the upswing. So there was like some months that were better, some months that were a little bit worse, and then YouTube's basically been saying that we've been getting more views than usual since about October, which, I mean, I guess that's true. Like, we had 400,000 in March, and then there was a bit of a dip down between about May and September, and since then we've been above like 350,000, but it's just been like yelling at me. It's like, you're above normal. It's like, well, I don't know. It seems to be around normal right now, but I don't know. I don't fully pay attention to these up and down numbers that YouTube has. As for subscribers, subscribers have been pretty steady, with some slightly slower months. Like this one month was a little bit below because I made the one video that upset the internet, but generally, things have been okay in the stats front, and stuff has been picking up a little bit, especially in the last 28 days. We've had a few videos do quite well. If I actually go back to the last 90, it'll look a little bit more obvious. As you can see, there's a few chunks here that are a little bit lower. Like, it's generally around 10 to 14,000 views per day, which honestly, totally fine. I'm happy with that. I can get by with that. And then when we hit around March, that's where I pissed off the internet, and we had some videos do quite well for a little bit there. And then I put out the big weight video, which did quite well, and things have been relatively steady. So numbers have been good. It's been on a slight increase as of late. I haven't been uploading as much, partially because I've been focusing a little bit more on quality, but also I've just been a lot more busy than in previous times. So it hasn't been as consistent as I would like it to be, as you can actually see these gaps down here in the videos. However, I do think that the general quality of the videos has been pretty good, so I've been quite happy with my upload output over the past little bit. Now we're over on my second YouTube channel. My second YouTube channel is Blind Extras. This is where I do post the VODs. The VODs channel has been an interesting experiment. Actually, if I jump back to a bit more time on this channel, let's just jump to the lifetime of it. It's had 150,000 views since I uploaded it, or started uploading to it, and consistently numbers on this channel have actually been steadily increasing. So it's a much smaller portion of my revenue, as you can see here, but it's very much it's been a neat experiment. About 1,100 views per 48 hours is pretty good, actually. And the watch time on it has been kind of great. So I don't really have any complaints about this YouTube channel. It's something that I've been running for almost a year now. It seems to have developed its own audience at this point, which I think is actually kind of awesome. And, it makes like $8 to $10 a day, which honestly, I'm totally fine with. I think that is something that's something I can get by on. Something that I do want to note here about YouTube money, as I am being pretty clear with the amount of revenue here, is this is in Canadian dollars and this is pre-taxes. So in Canadian dollars, or in American dollars, that would be just below $1,000. And taxes between what YouTube holds on to for U.S. tax withholding and between what I have to pay in taxes, that $1,200, $1,300 right there is actually closer to about $900, maybe a little bit below that after fees and taxes. Just keep in mind that the revenue here isn't quite as high as it seems. It's not nothing. It's definitely money, and I'm very grateful for the amount of money that I get from YouTube, but it is a very small portion of my overall revenue. So now Twitch is a little bit fickle with what I can show you, but what I can show you is essentially the month-to-month audience numbers. So what I can say is in December, we had an average of 202 concurrent viewers. We had an average of 207 concurrent viewers in January. In February, we had 208, like a very slight increase, which I think is kind of interesting. And then in March, we had an average of 190. That's the summer dead zone kind of starting to kick in. And then in April, we had 198. Now, I think April would have actually been lower in the average view count, but in the last few days of April, we got a couple pretty big raids, which kind of has kind of moved the average up, but up until the Manor stream that I did the other day, the average view count on April at this point was closer to 170. If I swap over to the weekly calendar here, you can actually see it dropping down throughout March and going all the way down to 180, and then there was a jump up on the end of March, which it was me starting a new fortress, which is what helped bring the averages up there, and then back down into April because the April stats were pretty bad. And then up until the most recent, with April 13th, it goes up a little bit. If we go to the daily counter, you can see what I'm talking about, where it drops down here around April 9th. And then, of course, the big jumps, which was the Manor Lord stream, and, of course, the me starting a new fortress at the end of March. Things are stable, steady, consistent, which is where I want them, honestly. Ever since December 2022, we've been very fortunate, and the channel has had a lot of growth. As far as the YouTube side of things goes, things have been consistent. They could always be higher. And that's always an ongoing thing, but they could also definitely be lower. And honestly, the situation where they're in has me feeling quite comfortable, and I'm quite happy with the situation that we've been in for the past year or so at this point. So moving forward, my hope for adventure mode, and I talked about this a little bit in the one of the more recent videos I've done like this, not in this exact series, but I did a video called My Plans for Adventure Mode. I'm going to be making a lot of tutorials. I will have a little bit of a head start, hopefully, and I will be able to get out a good number of tutorials. My kind of goal is to do a kind of a basic character creation tutorial, a basic map navigation tutorial, a basic crafting tutorial, basic survival tutorial, and a kind of basic, getting into the mode itself tutorial. Maybe basic combat tutorials as well if I can get through that far. And the last thing I would like to do is a short Let's Play. Now my question is, because what I want to do with these Let's Plays is a short kind of human, a short elf, a short goblin, and a short dwarf. Well, not that short, but short Let's Plays for those different character types. So my question is, would you like to see me start with a dwarf, a elf, a goblin? What kind of character Let's Play should we start off with? And then, of course, we'll do some sort of animal people Let's Play, and then some sort of party Let's Play. Now, these aren't going to be like long-term Let's Plays. They'll be maybe 3 parts total, if I were to guess, based on the way I play Adventure Mode. Just kind of talking about how to get into that type of character, the caveats, and the different things that can happen. So my plan is to make those tutorial Let's Plays, similar to the way Weather Mountains works, or has worked in the past. So me explaining as many mechanics as possible while walking you through a new character. Because I don't know exactly what the new content is going to be like for the mode, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to tackle that. And now kind of the last part of this video, which is generally just the mental health update. I've talked pretty openly about my headspace and my mental state before in these videos, and I know some people kind of just tune out when I start doing that, but hey, let's dive into it a little bit. I've been better as of late. I know that in the past I've had random spats of anger towards people in the chat, and it's something that I've been working to remedy over the past year. I've had quite a lot of mental health support in the past year. This has been the first year and a bit of my life where I've kind of had the, I would say courage, but my excuse is free time. It's not just courage, it's mostly free time. This is the first year that I've had the time in the week to be able to try and get help. I've been in and out of therapy. I've had 2 different therapists now. I've also had counselors and group therapy. I have a psychiatrist. I'm on pills now for various things, and it's calmed me down a lot. I feel like I've been a bit of a better person. I feel like I've been a more consistent person, and I feel like I've been able to treat chat better. I know that nobody's perfect, and I know I certainly am not, and it's kind of an uphill battle and something that I'm working to improve. You know, people often look at streaming and they look at my industry and they go, oh, well, obviously it can't be that difficult because all that you're doing is playing video games on the internet. Playing video games on the internet while keeping your cool for 10 hours, at least in my case, because that's how long I stream for usually. So that's a long period of time to have to keep your cool and not get irritated with anything. And that's something that's always been a bit of a challenge for me, and that's been one of the hardest parts of this job for me. And the past year, I think I've gotten a lot better at being diplomatic and being a better person. And I just wanted to say that I think I've improved. I'm still working on it. It's something I'm still trying to improve. And off stream, I've been a little bit of a better, in a better headspace, not as depressed. One of the things that's been helping is I've just made myself absurdly busy. I've been volunteering for the Strata Council in my apartment building recently, so I've been, you know, outside and like helping upkeep the building with maintenance. I've been talking to a lot of contractors and trying to actively improve this building, and I think this cable for my headphones are failing. So I've been trying to actively improve my apartment building, so it's given me a lot of extra tasks to get done around the outside of the channel, which admittedly has partially contributed to the slower output in videos, but mentally and physically, I think it's been very healthy for me. So I look forward to Adventure Mode. There's going to be an absolutely large amount of content dropping the day Adventure Mode is out. So if you were here when Dwarf Fortress released originally, get ready for your inbox to get absolutely obliterated with my videos. So maybe duck for cover. But I look forward to it. It's going to be fun. I hope everybody enjoys the Adventure Mode beta, and here's hoping it launches smoothly. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thanks for listening to me ramble for a little bit, and I hope to see you in the next one.